May 5th through the 9th is National Teacher Appreciation Week. Parkersburg High School employs teachers who teach a variety of subjects from math to art. Joshua Dubs teaches music at PHS and says his favorite part of teaching is building relationships with his students and hearing about their successes after graduation. He thinks it's nice to see there's time set aside for teachers.
It's always great to know that there is time set aside for the public to appreciate teachers. But I would agree, as my colleague said, the little things throughout the school year that I do with my students and with my parents are much more fulfilling to me as a teacher.
Joshua's advice to college students pursuing teaching careers is to learn to be patient and adapt.